This is Fantology.
You may have heard of us.
All right, what's up, fantasy book fans? This is Steven, your host with Fantology Podcast, along with my lifelong friends, Ryan, Ben, and Josh. Jake couldn't make it today, which is a shame because this is going to be a fun episode talking about our 2022 year in review and a look ahead to 2023, which seems pretty crazy to say, but I guess we're getting old and 2023 is right around the corner. Anyway,
real quick, how do you guys feel about 2023? It feels like it feels wrong to me. I don't know. I don't know. We can cut this, but
like the numbers,
yeah, like the number feels like it's like a menacing number. I feel like I'm on Severance, but yeah, it doesn't feel like a good number. I don't know. Anyway, sorry.
I mean, I'm just glad there's not 3 2s in the year. That felt wrong to me.
Josh, you sound like what's his name from Joe Abercrombie's books, like Happy.
Oh no, is it Lucky?
I feel
No.
It is
What?
Happy. No,
No,
friendly.
it's not. Happy's
Friendly.
Happy's the dwarf.
Oh.
Friendly.
Thanks,
You're right.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks,
You
Ryan.
sound like Friendly, Josh.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. I've been having this thought for a few months now. Anyway.
Well, I'm pretty neutral about it. I thought based on the numbers, 2020 should have been a great year, and look what happened that year. So
Also, I
Yeah.
didn't know that this is the thing you have to like choose sides on. You know, how do you feel about the numbers 2023? Are you
Sorry,
neutral
we
about
can
it?
move. We can move past this. I
I feel like we can probably
I've been wanting to talk to people about it, and this is the first time I've had the chance.
we can choose sides on fantasy book issues.
Okay.
Josh, we don't need to cause division right from the gates.
All right. Sorry, guys. Let's
All
go.
right. So, how was everyone's 2022 from a fantasy book perspective?
It was great. I slowed down on reading quite a bit because I started law school, and so I didn't slow down on reading. I just switched what I was reading.
Yeah, you have to switch genres.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I spent much more money on books this year than I have like previous 10 years combined. We'll say that. But no, it was good. That means that I had to pick and choose the books that I read very carefully, which also means that like I really enjoyed every book I read because I wasn't like normally I'm kind of experimental, especially for the podcast. You know what I mean? Like I'll read a book. I mean, as a podcast, we try and pick books that we think we'll like because we don't like to talk negatively about things. So normally we get it right, but you know, sometimes they're slower books or whatever. So the ones I read this year, I really liked.
Yeah.
you know, I think we should have done a Fantology book exchange where we get a book for another member of Fantology, and they have to read that book the next year.
Dang. That would be fun.
So say I really wanted Steven to get into one series that he hasn't done anything about, I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna buy you Unsold or whatever, you know?
Hello, Cradle.
Whatever that series happens to be.
Yeah,
We already do that with each other's like logins. So
that's true. That's
But
true.
yes,
I was thinking about like maybe we could buy each other a hard copy, but then I
it
was like,
is, yeah.
we don't really all sit down and read hard copies. It's just not as convenient to carry around a book as it is to bring your phone or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I would if someone gave me a hard copy of a book, I'd read it. I think.
All
We'll
right.
get you a hard copy of the Kama Sutra.
Ooh,
Oh, I would study that thing.
Ryan's with the division here. Whoever gets me gets a hard copy of Contracts.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds okay. Hopefully, I don't get Ben.
Are you regifting your old textbooks?
Oh yeah, they're worth.
That's not allowed. Oh yeah, well maybe I do want those actually.
Yeah, no, they're with textbooks nowadays. They all come with a code for like online, right? Because they have like online supplemental activities, and none of the stores will buy the books back unless the code is like unused, and you have to use the code. So
Oof.
market for used textbooks is taking a hit right now.
Dang. No more selling it back to the bookstore?
No, and the website that makes expensive books free was recently seized by the United States government. So it's also
Rip.
One of one of your top visited sites?
I went back for semester 2 books, and it was just a big U.S. government like the site has been seized.
I hope you use a
VPN,
VPN.
Anyway,
Oh man, the high seas are sketchy lately.
Ben
All right.
went to law school to pursue a promising career
Listen.
and ends up going to jail for.
Yeah.
it's not a crime to
Yeah,
download.
there's some irony
It's
here.
a crime to distribute.
Are
I'm
we
pretty
sure about
it's a
that?
crime to download
No, it's not. It's a crime
It's
to distribute.
Okay.
All right.
Hmm.
All right.
Okay, so that said,
Hot topics.
what books did you guys like in 2022? We're starting with that, and then we're going to talk about upcoming books in 2023 and just like Fantology in 2023 in general. So starting with 2022 in review, we didn't read enough like books that actually came out in 2022 to say that the criteria has to be it was published in that year. So just anything that you read last year, which really kind of opens it up to whatever. But like, yeah, just tell us your favorite read, one each.
Okay, who's starting this?
I think you got to start it, Ben, since you bragged about your quality over quantity approach.
Okay. Let's see. I've mentioned this a few times now, but I'm gonna say Children of Gods and Fighting Men was probably my favorite read. It also came out this year by Shauna Lawless. And it just really like, I think probably the reason why it was my favorite is because it opened up like a new and different genre that I wasn't like previously aware of. And I don't think too many people are, but it's kind of like this like historical fiction where it's based on real people that existed, you know, a few hundred years ago. But each of those characters are like, you know, clearly artistic liberties are used with them, but it's kind of like this cool meshing
And
together.
magic is infused into actual history.
Right. So super cool book. And the other book that I was pitting against, I won't say it now, but it's kind of a similar concept. And so if none of you guys say it, then I'll talk about that book in relation to Children of Gods. So there you go.
Nice.
So I actually read a few different book ones of in 2022. I've read Eye of the World, which is book one of the Wheel of Time. I've read Leviathan Wakes.
First time, though.
Not for the first time.
Brian's like, it's the series called Wheel of Time. I don't know if you guys have heard of it.
Leviathan Wakes, which is book one of The Expanse, A Court of Thorns and Roses, which is book one of, I think the series is called the same name, Court of Thorns and Roses. Book one of the Wax and Wane series, also not for the first time. That was a repeat. And book one of Cradle, which is unsold. And for my favorite book of the year, that's going to be book 10 of Cradle, Reaper. And I really like the series. You see my and Josh's review of the first two books for further details. But I think Reaper was my favorite of the first 11 books. And there's just a lot of buildup that is gets a satisfying payoff in Reaper.
Man, Brian, I was going to give you a hard time about like not sticking with anything with all those book ones that you read, and then you bust out that you've read 10.
Yeah.
11 actually.
11. Okay. Well, there you go. So, touche.
Sounds like Ryan read the most books of us this year.
I actually so I've only read 24 books. I'll probably read 25 books before the year's end, which is short of my Goodreads goal, which was 30. This is the first year I've fallen short of my goal since I started doing this goal. So I'm a little disappointed about that.
Brian, all you gotta do is do bedtime stories with Jude and just tally those.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
Man,
does not count, Ben.
Come on, man.
Hey,
man, Ben's pirating books. Ben's cheating at Goodreads. I don't know if we want this guy representing us in a court of law.
There's some hard-hitting children's books, man. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
We have a book that we got from Hawaii called Coconut, or My Coconut Named Bob or something. Coconut Named Bob. Man, that one's a tearjerker. It'll get you. Get you.
Sounds like it was a book written by Jack Johnson.
Yeah, could be. Makes you little boy loses coconut, but comes back as an old man to find the tree. Anyway.
Thanks for spoiling it, Josh.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Tear jerker there.
This is gonna be Ryan's 30th book.
Yeah.
All right,
Josh,
Really
what was
looking
your
forward to
favorite?
reading it.
My favorite is going to be Babel/Babel, depending on your pronunciation. And I think that this was just a really solid book. I had high expectations for it, and I came
By R.F. Kuang.
by R.F. Kuang. Yeah. Babel, an Arcane History, shows how much it's my favorite book because I don't even know the full title. Arcane History of the.
It's a really long subtitle.
translators.
Yeah.
Anyway, I had high expectations. It fulfilled those expectations. Book's not for everyone, but I think that it's a really easy book to like. Pacing is pretty well done. Character work is really strong. A lot of interesting insights, and going to make you look at history and the world a little bit different way. Kind of calling back to Ben's reference with Children of Gods and Fighting Men. It's kind of it's not maybe as historical because the actual characters didn't exist, but it helps you re-examine a period of history in a new way that you probably wouldn't have, at least I hadn't ever thought of before. So yeah, go read it if you haven't. Strong recommend.
Yeah, that was kind of the same, like the book that I was referencing. So I'm glad you brought that up. And this is probably the book I recommended most this year to people. And so I will agree, it was, vying for my top spot. And I think that everybody should read this book, especially because the magic system in it is really cool. And it's just a really interesting and cool concept. And the ideas and themes that are explored are really good. So yeah.
I agree.
Not to pump it up anymore, but that's the same book that I would say is my favorite for the year. But since it's already been taken twice by you guys, well, second place for Ben. I'll say my second favorite book of the year was In the Shadow of Lightning by Brian McClellan, first book in his new series. And I enjoyed it quite a bit as I was reading through, wrote it pretty quickly, and got to see Brian at Dragonsteel Con, which was cool as well. And we get to interview him about the book. And so all around good interactions with Brian and good book. And I'm looking forward to more in this series.
Nice. I think second place for me, especially because nobody said it yet, but Lost Metal, very, very solid entry. There you can see and good ending. You can see our review. I was probably harder on it than you guys were, but I still really enjoyed it, and it earns I think it's a top 3 book of the year for me, probably. So
yeah.
So I was looking forward to Lost Metal. I still actually haven't finished it because I just haven't been like drawn into it like I hoped I would. I mean, I'm sure it's gonna have a typical great Brandon Sanderson Sanderlanche at the end to just pull off to be a great ending, but I don't know. I mean, I'm probably 40% of the way through, and nothing has really, I don't know, excited me about it so far.
I will say, compared to something like Cradle, where I made a lot of progress on book 3, by the way, Ryan, this week, but I think something like Cradle, where there's big things happening, like virtually every chapter, like something pretty big happens. There's not a lot of just waiting around in Cradle. It would be kind of hard to go from that to the Lost Metal. And I know you've obviously, very experienced reading, but maybe that's why, if you've just been in Cradle land for the last, 10 books, I could see it being a little bit of a harder transition. But
yeah, maybe. I mean, I also did read the first 3 books in the Wax and Wane relatively recently too,
so yeah, okay.
I feel like the Lost Metal does take a decent portion to get its feet underneath it. I don't know. I think once you get done with part 1, have you finished part 1 yet? Yeah, you should have.
Yeah, I'm on like part 3, I think. Anyways, not to sidetrack it at all. I just wanted to respond to Josh.
I feel like you're pretty close to where it's going to pick up, and once it starts getting going, it goes pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
One book that I read, I binged it all in one day, and it was Mr. Monster by Dan Wells. It's the second book in the I'm Not a Serial Killer series. And holy cow, like I just had like a day that like I was doing like just cleaning all day, and I was listening to it, and it was like sucked me in pretty good. So it almost, if you've ever seen You on Netflix, it felt like watching You, which is like a show about a stalker. So
It's a show about a serial killer.
it's stalker serial killer. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very,
maybe it's not for me because I haven't read more, or sorry, I haven't seen more than I think 2 or 3 episodes of You.
I stopped in the first season too around that point, Ryan. It was too much for me.
I like want to, I don't know, I think I've said this before, but like I want to cheer for the protagonist in some way, shape, or form. And like even anti-heroes, like you can somehow get behind him, but he is just too much of it's too hard for me to watch it. I'm like, I don't.
Yeah,
want
I can
this
see that.
guy.
Like even with people who I would consider evil, and I think that like Walter White gets like, people give him way too much credit for way too long in the series. Like I think after the first few episodes, he's just like what I would consider an evil person, but he still does have like some redeeming qualities about him. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Enough that you can cheer for kind of like Jorg. But like, yeah, with You, it was just like, this guy is just like a perv. I don't like him. Like, I don't want him to end up with the girl because there's like some romance. Like, everybody should go away from him, and he should be jail/dead. Anyway.
no, I agree.
Jail/dead.
I agree. But like,
not even a capital punishment guy, but that guy is creepy.
listen, I agree. It's just, it's very rare when you start like something like penetrates your mind so deeply that you start like thinking in their voice. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And You does that. And so maybe it's just because I binged it, but so did Mr. Monster for me, even more than I'm Not a Serial Killer. So anyway, it's just that, and to me that's like, you know,
So
there's
you're
a lot.
saying
Should we be worried
when you read and watch these books of compelling horrific people, you start thinking like them?
So I'm not even saying I'm thinking. It's almost like, but you can like hear the voice in your head, you know, like.
Is that much better?
We've learned that in 2022, Ben's morals have really fallen apart.
Oh my gosh.
it's just
You know what? Maybe I'll just
his morals have held, but he clearly has some influences on those morals that might not be good.
oh boy, guys, we're in trouble.
listen.
All right.
Just read the book, watch the show, and you'll understand what I mean. All right.
That I'm glad that Dan Wells' books are good because he's going to be writing in the Cosmere, which was exciting 2022 news. Who knows when that will actually happen, but he does work for Dragonsteel now. Any other honorable mentions that you just want to like throw a title out there that you enjoyed this year?
I want to throw that out. I read all 6 of the I'm Not a Serial Killer books. I did not read the short story because it was not available on audiobook. But yeah, they're like my October Halloween reads, and I enjoyed all of them. Yeah, so throw that out there too. I don't think any of them individually like would earn a spot in my top 3 or even top 5 of the year, but taken collectively, they're up there.
Josh, does it follow the same protagonist in each book, or is it a new one?
Yeah, same protag.
Okay.
Yep.
I read The First Binding by R.R. Verdi, which is a controversial book that I ranted about with Dylan from Friends Talking Fantasy podcast, which I thought was actually one of our better episodes. And I'm still not sure how much I liked it, but it was like a 900-page book that I actually read and didn't listen to. So I want credit for that. And I did enjoy it, but I also hate it at the same time because the more I think about it, the more it's just sort of rip off of Name of the Wind, and I can't get over that.
Yeah, I listened to that podcast that you guys did for the Intel spoilers, and
Same.
But I mean, it was a decent book, and I don't know if he finishes the series before Patrick Rothfuss does, then maybe he's seen an opportunity here to like cash in on some available booty there, you know.
Booty. Stephen, could
Pirate
phrase
style like Ben.
could phrase that better.
I think Ben's pirate influences have worn off.
He's gonna just get that booty.
Like treasure, Josh.
Okay, Ben, I cut you off. What were you saying?
no, I don't think I was saying anything.
I do have a response to that, Stephen. Not to the booty comment, but so I did get some headway into the novel that I'm trying to write through National Writing Month and National Novel Writing Month or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's about as hard as I thought it was going to be, if that makes sense. Like I've been able to get going, and I got, like 20,000 words done or something. So I got a pretty good jump on it. But having said that, like, there's no way I like having had this kind of experience starting to actually put some words on the page. There's no way I could write like a knockoff of Name of the Wind that's like anywhere near as like that would be even remotely good. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah, no, it's a good book. It's well written, but I've already read the book. I've already read it in a different title.
Fair enough, but I don't know. For me, if I wrote a book that like could be somewhat even compared to Name of the Wind, even in terms of like having a plot, I don't know. It just seems like that's still very impressive to me. Because I do think I could I think Dan Wells has done like a great job, did a great job, but I could see myself like kind of being able to write a book like that, maybe not in such a good voice and understanding mental health in quite the same way he did, but just like the plot, like I could get my head around like writing a good plot like that. Whereas a plot like Name of the Wind with so many moving pieces, so much backstory, so much lore, like it blows me away, So there's my
that's why I'm so conflicted about it, because like at face value, it's a really good book, but there's a whole thing around it.
Would you recommend? Okay, like, is there anybody that you would recommend that to over Name of the Wind?
No.
Like even if somebody like came to you and said, "Hey, like I heard Name of the Wind is like might not ever be finished, and there's a lot of drama surrounding the author, but I kind of want to read it." Would you be like, maybe you should read this book instead, or do you just say read Name of the Wind?
If he finishes the first Binding series, however, I don't know how many books he's doing there, but if it's 3 and if he writes all 3 and they're done and they're good, then sure.
Okay. All right. Fair.
Yeah. But yeah, the whole thing about not being finished is an issue. And I'm looking forward to Ryan's snide comments about what books we're not going to get in 2023. I know you're planning on that, Ryan.
No, I wasn't, but now that you've said it, we're not getting the Doors of Stone. Everybody, just get that through your head right now. Doors of Stone will not come out in 2023 and not 2024 either.
Okay, we need a scale. Ooh. So I listened to the Vergecast, which is a podcast about tech, and they have like when they rank streaming services, they have a scale called like the Go 90 scale, which is like Verizon. I don't know if you guys didn't have Verizon, but Verizon had like a streaming service that was meant for like vertical video, so it was called like Go 90. Is that what? Anyway, so they have like a scale from like 0 to 90 on like how much like the streaming service is going to last. Like, so Netflix would be like a 5, whereas like Paramount Plus would be like a 70 or whatever. So we need a scale of like the likelihood of books coming out in like the next year. So like, what's more likely?
Just
like,
1 year?
So Sanderson would be like a 3, where it's like almost 100% sure that he keeps on schedule, and Patrick Rothfuss would be the 90.
Yeah, but we need like.
Well, I think we can say with pretty high likelihood in 1 year if something's going to come out or not.
Well, no, like there's a chance that Doors of Stone comes out next year, but like it's very small.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, so like okay, for now, let's just use the scale of
I
like
mean,
1 to 10.
it would need a release date in like the next 2 to 3 months
Yeah,
in order
but it
for
could
it
happen.
to be. I guess
Okay.
so.
So now a
Okay.
scale of 1 to 10. What's the likelihood of Doors of Stone?
10 is bad.
10 is no 0. 10 is like it's going to come out almost certainly.
The likelihood
well-
of it coming out in 2023.
Yes.
Yeah, so 0.
10 being 100%, 0 being 0%.
Basically. Yeah.
Steven says 0. I say like
I'm on. Yeah,
I say
0.
a 1.
I say 0. I don't even think there's a 10% chance it comes out this year.
Okay. All right. I'm going with 1. I could see him doing it.
I just
could
feel
see
like there's got to
10%.
be. I feel like we'd hear some rumblings beforehand, and
But
it
there's
wouldn't
a
just
whole
come out
year.
of nowhere.
Look,
Yeah, but no. It would need a release date in like the next 2 or 3 months to make it out by this year.
yeah, but also the publisher's going to get it out when they can, right? Like if he has a complete manuscript. Okay. All right. What about Winds of
Yeah.
Winter? What about Winds of Winter? Do you really-
Also 0. He's not close enough.
I would give that a 1. I think that he's made enough progress where I think that he will come out with it in the next, probably, I'd say realistically 3 years. I would say 3 years, but I think that, I mean, there's
Yeah.
a chance. I would say 1.
Okay. What if we went up to like 3 years?
3 years, we'll say 75% chance
Ooh, really? Okay.
for Winds of
Yeah.
Winter. For Winds of Winter.
The Delta wouldn't be that big for me. I think I would probably say like a 2 and a 5, maybe. So I guess that's the same thing. But
I mean,
So,
from the
wait.
updates he's been giving, he's making some progress, and he's put together a lot of pages. So I think he's close.
fair.
What about this? All 4 secret projects with like all the bundles, like there not being any hitches around it.
Okay.
Like they all come out on time with the promised like
There could be shipping delays. I think
Yeah, that-
shipping delays is the only reason why.
Yeah, that's trickier because you're trying to predict other things. I feel like, Branderson will deliver pretty well on those.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay, so we're thinking like an 8.
Yeah,
No.
and well, I mean, for his
Pretty low
portion,
chance of failure.
I'd say like an 8, and then that everything does come out on time, like I don't know, 4 or 5, just because there's been a lot of different issues with things getting delayed for a variety of reasons.
I mean, he's already so far along with all the writing. I think 100% chance he'll be done with the writing stuff, and like maybe a 10 to 20% chance there's a shipping delay.
Okay.
What about Gentlemen Bastards? Book 4.
This year,
Again.
no, I just can't. I mean, I don't think that there's going to be a surprise announcement in the next 2 or 3 months to get us a release date by the end of the year for any of these.
Okay. What about
the
3
last
years?
thing? The last thing with Gentlemen Bastards is that he said he was making progress. I think not on book 4, but I think he was making progress on writing short
Yeah.
stories related to it.
Right.
So
Right.
I
Okay.
think
Yeah.
I
I
think
mean,
that there's pretty low likelihood in the next year.
I'd accept like a published short story though, and like
I would
okay.
probably say a 2.
What about real-time TV show?
well, it's gonna come out.
That's coming out this year. Rafe said for sure it'll be this year.
Oh, okay, I didn't hear those for sure.
Yeah, I think yeah.
Yeah.
Because I kind of thought it might be this year, you know.
Yeah. Rafe had an interview with, I can't remember who, but he said that there was still a decent amount of post work that needs to be done. So
Take their
it'll
time.
probably
Take their
be-
time, man. Take their time.
Yeah, for sure. After last time, they need to take their time.
Yeah,
So it'll
we don't-
probably be more like April or May at the soonest.
All right.
That's
Sorry,
all.
Yeah, any more? This is a fun game.
Sorry, I just saw what else we were supposed to discuss, so I want to get to that. But what about Dresden?
Ooh,
That's a good one.
I still don't. I don't think that'll be this year. I think that's maybe 2024 thing.
I think it's a 3. I'd give it a 1 in 3 chance of being released this year.
I could give it that high too.
I'm not very optimistic about anything apparently. Any books? at
We
least.
have a lot of other great books coming out this year, so I'm not too
Yeah,
worried.
maybe we
about-
should
Yeah.
focus on the books that are coming out to, to put a positive taste in people's mouths.
Yeah.
Okay, should we
Yeah.
go over those?
Yeah. Okay, so let me review. There's a bunch of books coming out. These are a few that have kind of caught our eye. Let us know in the comments if there's more, or hop on Discord and let us know what books you're excited for. But for Fantology, we identified 5 books that our Fantology goal for the year is to get advanced copies and get the author on for an interview. And getting the author on for an interview is probably the harder thing to do. Advanced copies are not as hard as you think. So the books in order of release date, and this is actually difficult too, because most of them are around like April or May so far, and some have TBA release dates. But we're looking forward to Night Angel 4 by Brent Weeks, which comes out on April 25th. Red Rising 6, which comes out on May 2nd. That's by Pierce Brown. The Will of the Many by James Islington, which is the first in his new series. That comes out on May 23rd. And then Cradle number 12, I think that's a TBD on release date. But from what I've seen from his previous release dates, since he self-publishes these still, right? So he's able to kind of turn it around pretty quickly. Is that true?
I'm actually not sure on the publishing.
Well, what I've seen is that he posts things on Twitter and then they come out in like 2 or 3 months after that. So I feel pretty confident that this is coming out next year. I don't follow Cradle enough, so I'm actually not sure, but I'm looking forward to this because you guys have talked it up so much. So I'm going to try to read all 12 books next year because it sounds like they go pretty quickly. And then Rage of Dragons 3, which I think is coming out next year. I remember there was some news about it like not that long ago. And so I feel like we can expect that one, but maybe not till like later in the year. So there's our 5 books that we're going to try to get arcs for and get interviews on. Might be a little bit of a stretch goal, so we'll see how many of the 5 we hit. But that's what Fantology is aiming for.
Yeah. And you guys can expect more episodes than that, obviously. Like those are just kind of the 5 arcs.
So yeah, those are the ones that hopefully people actually tune into.
Yeah.
You
So-
can ignore all the other stuff.
I mean, what books are out of those ones? Which ones, if you could only read one, which one would you pick?
Ooh.
Red Rising, because that's the only series I've actually read any in here.
Rage of Dragons?
You haven't
You
read
read
Rage of
Rage of-
Dragons?
Wait, what?
Rage of Dragons.
I don't think I have.
By Evan Winter?
No.
You
The
haven't
one
read
that's
Rage
kind
of
of like-
Dragons?
I
The one
started.
that's like
no.
steeped in African lore fantasy.
Yeah, no, I haven't read it.
Oh,
Oh, it's really good.
yeah, I'm gonna go for sure. Rage of Dragons.
I tried listening to it on a bike ride one time and something happened. I think my headphones ran out of battery or something, and I just never went back to it.
Hmm. This book is making my headphones run out of battery. I'm never
No, it
gonna
wasn't
read
that.
it
It's
again.
just I don't know. That because that's the one with the big old no, never. I also haven't read that. I
Big
haven't-
old.
I also haven't read the one with the big old dragon on the front and the
You're talking about the Shadow of Gods.
Yeah, Shadow of the Gods and
Shadow of the Gods. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't read that.
Hunger of the Gods. Yeah, you're not missing much. Hot take. Could get roasted for that one.
I think I'm gonna pick Night Angel 4 because it's a direct sequel to the Night Angel trilogy, which I read and I really liked, even though those are a little bit more rough around the edges because they're Brent Weeks' first trilogy. So I'm looking forward to that. Whereas Red Rising 6, I really liked the first trilogy. I have not read books 4 and 5 at all because I was waiting for this trilogy to be finished, and I've heard a little bit more mixed things about them. So I don't really know what to expect. Now I just remembered Cradle Book 12. So now I'm torn. I think I'm actually leaning more towards Cradle Book 12.
It sounds like from what I've heard from you, you
Waybound.
like Cradle.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
can all easily say that your initial answer was incorrect, Ryan.
Because that's
It
the
actually
finale
Cradle
for
Book.
Cradle, right?
Yeah, Waybound is, yeah, I totally changed my answer to Waybound.
I mean, a last book. That's exciting.
Yeah, it is.
Although we do
And
get a last book with Red Rising, but I don't think any of us have read Red Rising 4 or 5 because there were some mixed reviews there.
yeah, that's yeah, Waybound definitely for me.
I'm gonna say, like, so out of these four of them are in existing series and they're fairly far along in the series. I'm gonna say I'm most excited for The Will of the Many because I liked James Islington's first series, and it's been a while since we've had anything, and I like getting into a new world. So looking forward to this one, and yeah, I expect it to be pretty good.
Yeah, agreed. James Islington is I think those are the books that really got me back onto reading after I kind of slowed down to just reading Sanderson pretty much and Dresden. Yeah. I kind of was just for a few years I was kind of only reading whatever Sanderson and Dresden would come out, but James Islington really got me. That series really got me going. Like, oh dang, there's a lot of good stuff I need to get back into it. That's around the time we started the podcast.
Yeah, I think they're pretty easy recommends too because they're like pretty low barrier to entry, and they feel a lot like things like Wheel of Time.
Yeah, they're pretty cliched, a lot of the things, but they have enough twists and turns and excitement that, like,
yeah,
it keeps you engaged. But yeah.
Any other? So, okay, I mean, I don't know if we know everything that's coming out in 2023, but any other things that you guys are excited for that we didn't mention here? I mean, I guess we have five Sanderson books, all the secret projects. I'm like, I don't know if I'm super excited for any of the secret projects, to be honest. Like, none of them are super heavy. I mean, one of them is pretty heavy Cosmere, but none of them are series that are like established. Like, I feel like they're going to be decent Sanderson books, but not like super well polished because he wrote them pretty quickly, if that makes sense. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for them, but I personally didn't contribute to the Kickstarter. So I may be the only member of Fantology that didn't do that. Maybe Jake didn't, but I'm looking forward to reading them, but it's kind of going to be like at my leisure when I get around to it. Whereas most of the other books that we've mentioned, they're going to be prioritized.
With the Kickstarter books, I can't say I'm like super excited about any specific one of them, but the fact that, like, the thought of getting 4 Sanderson books, even if they're like not top tier Sanderson books, like, does make me really excited. And just like the year of the Sanderson, what he's coining it, like, I think that there's going to be some like kind of heavy marketing and like.
I'm definitely going to be excited to get the box. Getting the box will be exciting.
Man, yeah, we just did ebooks. Ben and I went in together just on the ebooks and audiobooks.
But the year of Sanderson is also going to include like Mistborn TV series, I think.
Wait,
it's not going to come. Not coming out next year.
Might not be coming out. I think it'll be coming out either late 2023 or early 24.
No, it's not coming out next year. He said at Dragonsteel Con that he expects the next Dragonsteel Con, so November 2023, he said to expect him to be able to give like a solid Mistborn announcement at that time for a TV show.
And I think you've talked about this, but is it for sure going to be a TV show, or is it potential movie? I've always thought Mistborn would do better as movies, but
yeah, actually, I'm not sure. Sorry, I said TV show before. I can't remember. So don't quote me on this. I'm sorry, listeners.
He said he's always pictured it as a movie.
Yeah, I feel like it might be actually a movie that he's talked about doing.
Movies would be a lot better, I think.
I'm going to say 80% confident in movie.
So here's the question. Would you rather have it be 1, 2, or 3 movies?
3.
For the whole trilogy? Definitely 3.
See, I think he could basically cut out the second book. Like, not in terms of like, I still would want some of the stuff to happen in the second book, but I think that he could put like.
I feel like the second book could just be improved a bit with a movie plot, right? With the movie structure.
I want like a David Fincher kind of like Seven style, like serial, like half the movie is like, with Zane. I guess we can't do like spoilers, but like I could see a dark kind of movie following Zane for some of it, and where you're like trying to figure out what his motivations are. No spoilers, but like I could think I could see that being cool. Kind of like the new Batman movie, kind of how it was like dark and gritty, and do that with kind of like with Zane and Finn. Anyway, I think it could be cool.
I think to your point, Ben, hopefully we get some news about the movie next year in 2023. So that could be part of the year of Sanderson, the news.
The news. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. And there's also Skyward 4, which is the ending of the Skyward series, which has been an enjoyable series. I mean, a little more on the YA side, but I liked it well enough.
I haven't gone. I think I've only read the first two, because there's like all these like short stories coming out in between, and I heard
those are already out too.
Right, but I heard that they're gonna combine them in like an Audible package, and so I haven't wanted to spend Audible.
It's combined
credits.
into a book right now. I don't know if it's on Audible or not.
Oh, really? Yeah, that would be ideal for me, because I didn't want to keep on reading the series without reading the short stories and stuff. So.
Yeah, maybe check on that. It's called Skyward Flight.
Okay, nice.
There's also just a couple other books that we had down from conversations on Discord. Christopher Polini has a new book called Fractal Noise that is a continuation of his sci-fi universe that he's building. It's like the second book. I don't know if it's a direct sequel with same characters or if it's just like another book in the world, but I thought the first book, which is called To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, was pretty good. And I mean, he hasn't really written anything since Aragon, and he's gotten a lot better as an author, so I'll probably read that book.
What about, is Abercrombie coming out with anything?
He's going to be coming out with some short stories in the Age of Madness.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Are they?
I'm pretty sure that's coming out next year. Say that again.
Are they after the ending, or are they kind of like back in time?
I don't know. I just imagine it'll be similar to Sharpens, where it's kind of like throughout the course of the original trilogy.
Okay. I would really want to see what happens after the ending, because
Yeah, he did an AMA on Reddit not too long ago, and most of his answers were sarcastic and funny, but a lot of people asked about future stuff, in the First Law universe. And he said that he would like to, but has like no immediate plans right now, because he's focused on his new series, which is called, it's slipping my mind. Dang. It's a one word. The book it's just one word.
Murder?
Devil.
Devils.
Yeah,
Devils.
Got it.
Yeah. So, but I don't expect that next year. I think that's like a 2024 thing. He said he was going to take his time writing it. And usually he writes several books together and then releases them kind of quickly. So he might be doing this too. I don't know.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, that is kind of sad, because it's in the last few years I've read a lot of Abercrombie. So it's tough to think that it's going to take a while to have more.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna have a lot of books to read this year, Stephen.
I know. I named a lot of books. I named all 12 Cradle books.
Yeah, 12 Cradle
and
books.
That's all. It's got to be before the release date, which is in May.
Yeah, and Night Angel trilogy, if you want to read that before the fourth book. Red Rising. I think I'm gonna reread the first trilogy too before I read books 4 and 5.
Right, I'm gonna have to do that. So far I read the first Night Angel book. It's been years. I need to reread it. So that's 3 books plus Night Angel 4. So that's 4 books. And then all 6 Red Rising 10. So that gets me to 22 books before probably like halfway through the year. So there's no way that's actually going to happen. Dang. You guys might have to pick up the slack on some of these.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
2023 also has some cool video games coming out too.
Shoot, that's really going to cut into my reading time.
Dude, Tears of the Kingdom. Is it?
That?
Okay,
and Hogwarts Legacy.
And Hogwarts Legacy in February. Yeah. I can probably listen to rereads. Like I could play
You could-
Tears of the Kingdom at the same time as listening to the Red Rising
You could
first
probably
trilogy.
you could probably do Cradle doing that.
First time reads I need to focus on, or I'm gonna miss stuff.
Okay, I think you could do it. What do you think, Ryan?
Last year, was it last year or 2 years ago? Whenever I reread all of Joe Abercrombie's books, I was playing Breath of the Wild the entire time, getting all the Korok seeds.
That's impressive.
And that went fine. Because I mean, you don't really have to focus too much on the game.
I think you obviously won't. You'll probably pick up maybe like half as much of what you would if you were focused on it, which is probably fine for a reread.
I think you could pick up 75-80% of it.
Guys,
If you're playing
listeners are gonna blast us if we just admit that the first time we read books, we've been playing video games the entire time. I'm not gonna open myself up to that criticism. So I will not even know.
Who admitted that?
Easily, I do it sometimes.
No, Josh.
Bring it. You can multitask and you can. I don't know.
I mean,
I did it with. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
That explains why you couldn't get into Malazan.
No.
I can't even listen to Malazan while doing nothing else. I can only read them.
Okay. Wait, I had one more thing.
One more book. Witcher season 3 comes out, the last season with Henry. And that franchise seems to be going down the tube. So RIP Witcher, I don't know.
Let's hope the last season goes out with a bang.
I mean, they're planning on doing season 4, but it's
that's true.
It's with Liam Hemsworth rather than Henry. So
well, let's hope that Henry Cavill goes out with a bang.
Yeah,
as the Witcher, not in real life.
Here's my honest question about the Liam Hemsworth casting. If you're already getting rid of the actor, why replace them with another like kind of big name actor? You know what I mean? Like I feel like just get a good actor that's not like why are you wasting money on getting an actor? Like nobody's gonna be happy that it's Liam Hemsworth replacing Henry Cavill. Even if he's like a good actor, you know, like even if people,
I don't see how you can possibly win by replacing Henry Cavill with anyone though.
But you know what I'm saying though, like it seems like they just tried to get another like kind of actor that's as famous as Henry Cavill.
Probably because they have the budget.
But why not be like, oh dang, we don't have to pay for like a kind of B-list super. I mean, Henry Cavill is kind of A-list, but you know, not quite. He's not like quite a household name. But like, why you could like get another like C-list actor that's really really good and not have to pay him out the wazoo. I don't know. That's just kind of my thoughts on it.
They should have gone to Tom Cruise. I agree.
They could have gotten Tom Cruise, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not
pulls out a gun and starts shooting people. Sorry,
I don't know.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, Josh.
See what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, maybe. But on the other hand, maybe people are like, they're getting rid of Henry Cavill and replacing him with who? Like, you know, that would be the internet's reaction.
But I guess it's almost like you're getting rid of Henry Cavill and you're replacing with someone who you think we're going to be okay, like who you think is famous enough that it's okay that you're replacing Henry Cavill. I don't know. I don't really know.
I feel like
I'm just kind of complaining, but
the Hemsworth brothers are both like, they're not like known for their acting skills as much as they're known for their names and their good looks. And I think Josh is saying, like, you get somebody who doesn't have the same name recognition, but might be able to just really set themselves apart, like as an actor with this role, you know?
Maybe there's only so many chiseled male bodies available in Hollywood.
I don't think that's it. I think that there's a lot of
Josh is like, no, I know how many there are.
Josh is like, I've done some research into that subject and there's plenty.
Enough.
Yeah, Witcher Blood Origin comes out on Christmas Day and the reviews are really bad. So
you're gonna watch it
like
though.
Yeah, but like it just seems like the whole franchise is going down the tube.
I feel like we need Jake to watch that one because Jake is good at like when things are bad, Jake is like always the one who's like, no, it's actually pretty good. Like, I think people were overreacting. He definitely had that reaction with Batman v Superman. He's like, there's a lot of good parts in that. And I'm
But
not
then
gonna
when
say,
when things are unequivocally good, Jake's always the one who's like, yeah, you know.
yeah, exactly.
You guys, none
Exactly.
of us can
So
say
Jake's
that
takes
we
are
had this
just bad.
conversation, and we have to
No.
see if Jake listens to the podcast.
Jake's takes are not bad. I'm saying that he's like good at taking, I think, the opposite side of the hype, if that makes sense. You know,
Yeah.
he's good at seeing through the bad or the good.
Yeah,
I agree. Also, I just want to point out that Stephen, I'm sure you insulted Luke Hemsworth because it's not just the two brothers. There's Luke, Liam, and Chris Hemsworth.
Who's Luke?
Exactly.
Luke's in Westworld.
He's in Westworld. He's a pretty famous actor.
He's
Oh.
definitely not as big as the other two.
No,
Is
he's
he
not.
like the third Jonas brother?
He's
A
actually
little
the
bit.
oldest.
But he's the
He's the oldest
shortest.
Hemsworth.
He's the shortest, unfortunately. I believe.
Tell me what the third Jonas brother's name is right now.
I don't know.
I just know Joe Jonas.
I don't know if I
Yeah.
know.
Any of their
Yeah.
other names.
You don't know Nick? Nick is I feel like
Okay,
Nick is
maybe-
more famous.
guys, the third name is Kevin.
Nice, Ben.
Thank you.
So all three of them were playing at one of the Thanksgiving Day football games that I happened to be watching like at halftime. And so I had this discussion with my family because everyone was like completely forgot there was a third one.
Well, Kevin is the man. So
Wait, do you know it?
yeah, that's his name.
But did
The-
you just
the
Google that, or
camera?
did you know that?
I thought Ben was joking when he came up with that.
No, that's right.
The camera featured like 0 zoom in shots on Kevin. It was all Nick and Joe. And Kevin was relegated to the background 100% of the time.
Well, all I know, me and Josh are both going to Taylor Swift next year and Ed Sheeran.
Wait,
So,
I don't know if I have Taylor Swift tickets actually. So
alright.
Dang. All right. Look forward to that in 2023. All right. Thanks for listening. Jake, if you listened, we respect your takes, man. But we mentioned
I
you on
said
the
he had good
podcast.
takes.
I was the one who said they were just bad, but
Okay.
that was maybe joking. Hopefully, we'll see. We'll see if he forgives me. Let us know what books you're looking forward to in 2023, and hop on our Discord. Invites are in the episode description where you can chat with us more. All right. See everyone later.
see ya.
Bye.